Through sound judgment and content leadership, President Bill Clinton made America the 21st leading force for peace, prosperity, freedom, and security. He worked with partners around the world to build a more integrated world of shared responsibilities, shared benefits, and shared values. President Bill Clinton's record of accomplishments speaks for itself. The strongest economy in this generation, moving the nation from record deficits to record profits and surpluses, the creation of over 22 million jobs, more than any other administration, low levels of unemployment, poverty and crime, the highest home ownership and college enrollment rates in history, investments in education, providing tax relief for working families, helping millions of Americans move from welfare to work, expanding access to technology, encouraging investment, and undeserved communities, protecting the environment, countering the threat of terrorism, and promoting peace and strengthening democracy around the world. Since leaving office, President Bill Clinton has continued his legacy of bridging the gaps of global interdependency through the Clinton Foundation, which is working to create innovation solutions to some of the most pressing challenges we face, including climate change, global poverty, HIV/AIDS, childhood obesity in the United States, and substantial development. It is my pleasure to welcome the 42nd President of the United States, President Bill Clinton.
Thank you, Miguel. And thank you and Juanita for being Hillary's state co-chairs in Iowa. Thank you, Christy Vilsack. You know, she said she was in this competition with Tom to see who would sign most people up. She was way ahead. If you ever need any evidence that if you want something done and done right, you ought to put a woman in charge, Christy Vilsack. Jenny Mitchell and Randall Reisel and the other people here from Ashland for their endorsement of Hillary nationwide and in Iowa. Thank you, Democratic County Chair Harold Swanson, YMCA Director Lindy Hauser. I think you ought to thank him for making this place available. There are 6 of Hillary's county coordinators here, and I thank them and all of those who signed up to help them. I want to say a few things and then we'll take a few questions. I'll try as long as I can, but I want to say first, from my part, I am very grateful to the state of Iowa for many reasons. But for voting for me by substantial margins in 1992 and 96 and helping me become president and then the first president, Democrat, to be elected since Franklin Roosevelt, I thank you. I thank you so much. friendship with Tom Harkin, who was so helpful to me when I was president. And I thank you for standing with me. And his wife, Ruth, who's taken a leadership role in Hillary's campaign and was an important part of my administration. I love this state. I always love coming here. You know, I'm from Arkansas, so I always feel at home here. And I was glad to be asked to come. You'll have to forgive me, I'm kind of a little out of practice for this politics business. I've kind of been out of, you know. I feel so like an old racehorse who's semi-retired. Every 2 years they kind of drag me out of the barn and see if I can still make it around the track just one more time. But I just like to talk to you today and tell you why I hope you'll be for Hillary. I hope you'll caucus for Hillary. And why I think it's important for the country. My life today is quite different than it was when I was president. But I still work on a lot of the things I cared about when I was president. I sell AIDS drugs in 71 countries. I've contracted the least expensive AIDS drugs in the world. We have almost 800,000 people now who are going to live because they've got this medicine at the lowest prices in the world. I work in 25 countries to set up healthcare systems. We work in 40 cities on 6 continents, helping prove that you can fight global warming by creating jobs, not costing jobs. It's good. In America, my major projects, besides running my school of public service at my presidential library in Arkansas, are trying to get to 28 million Americans. They get a check every 2 weeks, but still aren't in the banking system, and they'll pay about $1,700 a year they can't afford to pay for financial services and never have a credit rating and never have an ATM card into the banking system, and fighting this rising epidemic of obesity and particularly diabetes among young people, which threatens our younger generation. We've got to turn that around. When I go to other countries, I still see the presidents, but then I'll be out in the country somewhere. The other day I was, every July, I go to Africa for Nelson Mandela's birthday, and then I go check on my projects. So I was in Malawi, in a rural area with 500,000 people where they never had a hospital before. We built a hospital, a 100-bed hospital for $500,000. In a country with per capita income of less than $1 a day. And there were 500 construction workers there, half of them women, not a single one there got a paycheck. In America, I raise money from my foundation work for the richest Americans, but my office is in Harlem. And I walk the streets and talk to my neighbors, and I know what they're going through. So I've got a pretty good feel for this. I've been to about 90 countries since I left office. And I'm working as hard as I ever did, but I have more freedom than I did when I was president in America and around the world, just to kind of see how things are impacting ordinary Americans.